Hey everybody, it's Seth Apter coming to you from my studio in New York City. I am beyond excited to be able to share with you that I am now officially a licensed designer with Sizzix. Working with the team at Sizzix has been sensational from the very beginning, and it has become a true collaboration. Now I'm a mixed media artist, but my goal in releasing this first collection was to create a series of designs that could be used by anybody, regardless of what area within art or craft that they work. The key word for me is definitely versatile. Mixed media is all about freedom, and I wanted to bring that to this release as well. There are 7 items for you to play with. There are 6 thinlit dies, 1 embossing folder, and they're all about freedom, versatility, and allowing you to make them your own. That's really important for me when I release a product, that it is abstract and versatile enough so that each time you use it, you could create something different. And if 10 artists used it, all 10 would be different. And that is the basis for this collection. I want you to be able to think about using each and every item as is. I want you to think about cutting them up. I want you to think about layering them. I want you to think about weaving them. And I want you to think about things that maybe I haven't even thought about. This is all about giving you the tools to create the artwork and the craft designs that are your very best. Let's stop talking and just take a look at what this release is all about. First up, we have Word Wafers 1. I love text, and I knew in my first release with Sizzix that words were going to be included. In this case, we have a die set that has 28 dies. There are 3 words: discover, journey, and imagine, and matching dies that allow you to create a die cut with the same shape as the word. Plus, there are all these letters, which I'll tell you about in a moment. Let's go to the art so you can see it in action. We have the word discover cut out, plus the matching background, which gives us much needed contrast to let that word pop. But if you want to go even further in making this your own and to add greater detail, go to the letters. Each of these letters represent one of the letters that is in each of these 3 words. What that does is it allows you to cut those out individually using any design and any color, so you can get flavor like this. Now, I want you to imagine that when you do that, you are going to get more depth, more dimension, some shadow, and you're really going to be able to take this to a level that makes it 100% fully your own. Next up, we have waffles. Now, don't tell the other dies, but I think this one might be my favorite of the release. It packs a wallop and has a big impact. It's a huge die. It's over 6 by 7 inches. And I'm going to take you to this artwork so you can get some sense of the details of it. I love the fact that there's that many gaps, because you can either allow the background to show through, or you can fill up all of it or part of it with the many offcuts that you get. But there's more, because you can also add letters, numbers, or little designs in each of these little wonky rectangles. You could fill them up with paint, color pencil. You can go your own way with this die for sure. You do not have to use it at its size. So if you're making something smaller, you can cut it down, for example, just to have 4 elements, or use it as a border and have a strip. Use it for a row. Use it individually and just put a few of these in different sections of your artwork. I love the possibilities that this allows for. And for me, loving mixed media, you can't get enough of those elements that look like drips. They're on all 4 sides, which lends itself to allow you to turn this and use it in any direction that you want. But once again, we have waffles, and I am loving this one. Let me introduce you to Borderlines. I think this set is so much fun. It includes 7 dies, 4 that are the stars of the show, and 3 additional supporting dies that will allow you to create a background and a frame for each of the stars. Let's take a look at the art so you get a better sense of what it looks like. I've used all 3 of the abstract shape dies here as they are. So you can see they match the die fully. And in each case, there is a background and a frame. Notice that frame has a little bit of wonk to it. The lines are just a little bit off and not perfectly even, because really, imperfection is really perfect. I also want you to know, though, that you can use these in so many other ways. These can be used as edges or frames or borders around your art. Or one of my favorite things to do is cut them up. So imagine this one cut into smaller segments with these individual abstract shapes scattered around your artwork. Or imagine this one cut up, and I can show you what that looks like on the second piece of art. So here, they are used in different pieces, kind of showing you with an arrow. That's what's important to look at, which is the fourth die. I wanted to get some numbers in here, and I thought this would be the perfect place to use numbers, because you can use them as a strip, or any one of these can be cut out individually. So again, the designs are all about versatility. I love a circle, and I knew I wanted to have circles in my release with Sizzix, so I want you to meet twisters. This includes 6 dies and these 2 elements, but the elements are interchangeable, and you can create so many more shapes when you begin to mix and match among all the possibilities. Let's take a look at this artwork, where you see the circle is definitely the focal point. I've used, to create this large background, the largest circle from this grouping, and this element right here was created using both of these. You'll also note that there are gaps right here where the offcuts can go. I've used the same color, but you can absolutely use multiple colors, multiple designs, and really make it your own. I do want to point out that a focal point can be something as simple as a circle. It does not always have to be representational, like a tree or a bird or a face. It could just be a shape. Let's go to the second piece of art here. And what I really love about this one is the bold colors that are popping off that black background. I've really thought about that, and in most cases throughout the collection, you will see that there is a background to be made so that you can actually create that contrast, which really highlights the beauty of these dies. Once again, all those little gaps, I've let the background show through, but they can absolutely be filled with offcuts to make it even more interesting. This is tracks. Tracks includes 5 dies, but these 5 dies cut 15 pieces, and I promise you that every single offcut, and there are many, are also usable. The name came from this first die, which I thought was going to be the star of the show, but I will tell you that the more I've used this, the more I've realized that there really are endless possibilities in what you can create with these 5 pieces. Let's go to the art, where you can see in the very center, I have the background cut using this die in black. And then I have each of these layered one on top of the other, which gives a completely different look. An exciting thing about this is that these 2 elements were also designed that not only can they be layered, but they can be woven under, over, so you get even more texture. These 2 dies are perfect for creating the perfect lines, and you see them everywhere on here. I love to edge or frame my work because I feel like it makes it look more finished, and I've used a lot of the die cut elements in different places along both the outside edges of the entire piece as well as the inner edges of a lot of the collage elements here. I also want to make note right now that you can not only use this release to create your artwork, but all the other die sets that I've released all work well together. They have been designed with that in mind. So for example, if you take one of the words or any of the words from Word Wafers 1, they are sized so they fit perfectly over that element. So I really want you to be thinking about different ways that you can not only use each die within any individual item, but how they can also work together. As I'm sure you've noticed, this release is all about shapes, symbols, and marks. And I knew I needed to include some that were not so obvious. Hence, I have my set called roundabouts. There are 9 dies here that create some shapes that are obvious, like that circle, but some that maybe are a little bit less identifiable. Let's take a look at the art where I've used these 2 dies to create this element here, which again is the focal point. I once again have the background, I have the main die, and then I have that offcut filling in that centerpiece. And that, by the way, plus sign can be used over and over again on its own, just to add a little bit of detail to any of your work. We go to the next piece of art. You see there's a butterfly there, but what I did was I added die cuts from this element so that we could have something abstract and something a little bit different. It has been stacked and stacked and stacked, which gives this a sense that it's actually a dimensional element. And what I also did was just simply grabbed a pair of scissors as a way to make this my own, and I cut it up and I placed it along the edges. Again, these almost serve as arrows pointing in to take a look at what's in the center, and they almost serve as a little bit of an unusual border around the entire piece of art. Don't forget those scissors, because you can make a single die cut and turn it into 1,000 different elements. We're going to go back to the circle here. This is very typical of the other dies in the set, where there's a background, multiple elements. I've only used 2 of the 3 dies in this one, but I once again want you to notice that all these off-cut areas can be filled back with unique offcuts so that you can add even more detail. And last but not least, this piece includes die cuts from these 2 dies, and I've layered and stacked multiple colors, multiple designs to create this formation here. I took my pair of scissors again, cut it up, placed it there, and I used some center offcuts right there. I really wanted to make every bit of this release useful to you. I also want to make note that if you're working small, maybe you cut this down and only use 1. If you're working large, maybe you run it through the machine multiple times so that the die cut ends up being much, much larger. My collection includes 1 embossing folder. This is dot matrix. I had to have an embossing folder. Let's take a look at some of these. Give you a better sense of the depth that you get with these beautiful folders from Sizzix, as well as the details that you see with my design. One of the things I love about these lines is that they almost serve as guides, so that you can go ahead and grab that scissors once again and cut along the lines in different ways so you can create smaller, different shaped elements that you can use individually in your artwork. The other option is just use it as the size of the embossing folder like I did here. You can see the shift in color, and you can definitely, even online, see the depth that is created with these beautiful folders. I added the word storyteller because honestly, this collection really does tell my story, and I see these as tools for you to use to tell yours. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and a big thank you and shout out to Sizzix for making me part of the team. I am hoping that you're going to look at this as a journey, and along the way you are going to imagine and discover all the things that you can make and the magic that you can create with these tools. I'm hoping that you embrace this collection, and that if and when you use it and you post something online, you tag me, because I am always excited to see what is created by the people who use my designs. So once again, a big thank you from me to you.